Hello, thanks, and welcome to a Johnscape guide for the Corporeal Beast. Corp is a boss that is quickly becoming a gold rush for all OSRS players. With the simplicity of the boss, low barrier to entry, the rising price of the coveted Elysian Sigil, there has never been a better time to learn this boss than right now. He's a very simple boss, and this video will be quick. If it looks long, it's only because the fight portion took a bit, but I sped it up. You can fast forward, whatever. But without further introduction, let's begin. While yes, I did say Corp is simple, you still need very specific gear if you wish to tackle it. You can only deal full damage to it with a spear or halberd on the stab setting, or magic, as it has a passive effect where it takes half damage from every other attack style. But since halberds are too slow, and magic is still pretty ineffective on it, a spear is your main weapon, and a dragon or crystal halberd for special attacks is the only reliable way to take Corp down. It's also worth noting you can use a setup like this with enchanted ruby bolts, as Corp's passive to half damage will not have the proc you can deal with these, meaning you have a potential chance of dealing 100 damage per bolt until about 800 health, but it's still really unreliable, and you absolutely need maxed gear, including Elite Void and Candor and Heart Diaries. So this is the simple setup, the bare minimum, no switches for the special attacks. This is just the bare minimum of what you need if you don't like switching. It costs about 50 mil if you don't count the Warhammer, or 90 mil including the Dragon Warhammer. Do note, there is not really a difference between Elite Void and normal Void if you're using melee, as the Elite bonuses only apply to range, magic, and they give a little bit of prayer. This is more of a max efficiency setup. It's more DPS than Void as long as you have the Nezi, Tort, Prims, and Ferocious gloves, but it's a little pricey. This whole setup with everything I have here and everything I've equipped, this will cost about 200 mil compared to the other setup. If you just don't like pest control and you don't want to get Void, you can downgrade the Nezi to a normal Nezi. You can use a Glory or Fury, Dragon Boots, or Barrows gloves. It'll be on par about with Void, but this is just straight up better if you wish to go this route. If you're wondering what you can downgrade or what you don't need, let's take a quick look at Corp's mechanics, and then go item by item. So, Corp really only has one mechanic, besides the fact that he can KO you very quickly, so you will want Protect from Magic on at all times. It won't protect you 100%, but what it will do is you will take 33% less damage from his attacks, reducing his max hit, and effectively reducing your chances of being KO'd. So outside of the fact that Corp can just hit really hard, the only actual mechanic to keep an eye out for is the Dark Energy Core, which looks like the pet that he can drop. What it does in the fight, though, is anyone standing in any of the tiles surrounding it, they will be dealt 10 health like a tick. It's super fast. You can die if you're not paying attention here. But what it'll do is it'll take that 10 health, deal it to the players around it, and heal Corp. So it's just really annoying. There's multiple ways you can deal with it. There's the hit and run tactic, or you can do the dancing method, but I'll show both of those during the kill section. If you want to see that, I'll leave a timestamp in the description. So besides that, you only have to remember two other things about Corp. One, if he hits you with a magic attack, there's a chance you can be drained for 1 or 2 prayer points. He hardly does it, or I just never notice it. Nothing you can do about it, don't worry about it. And 2, he has a trample, so every 7 seconds he'll check if there's a player under him, and if there is, he'll stomp, and it can deal up to 51 damage to anybody who's under him. You can purposefully stand under him with Vengeance for some extra damage. I wouldn't do it in a solo, just because he's alive so long you get trampled a lot, you'll probably run out of food, but in a group it's a good way to get some little extra damage in. Lastly here, although not really a mechanic of Corp himself, it's just something you have to do every time you want to kill him. So he's big, he hits hard, he's tanky. How do we get around that? You drain him. So 3 Dragon Warhammers, his defense is about half. 20 Arclights, his attack and strength and defense, all 0. BGSs after that, it'll start draining his magic. So 200 damage with that, you'll get his magic down to 0, and any restored stats after you deal that 200 damage, everything's going to be 0. He's basically going to be a chicken with 2,000 health. His health will heal though. If nobody's in the room with him, his health heals. Like, he'll go to full no matter what. But his stats will remain the same. They'll stay drained. They will regen every 12 seconds. I think he gains 1 stat every 12 seconds. But again, BGS will take care of that. So what do you and don't you need? I just threw a lot of information at you and showed you a lot of different stuff. So let's go just down the list one by one. Dragon Warhammer. Yeah, it's nice, but you don't need it. It drains the target's defense by 30% on a successful hit. Doesn't matter if it's a 1, if it's a 60. 30% target's current defense down. Just when you're using it, make sure it's on accurate, the pound setting. That'll land easier. Because again, you don't care about how much it hits, you just care that it hits. Next up, Arclight or Darklight. They both serve the same purpose. Arclight or Darklight. You don't have Arclight because you don't have the attack level or you're too lazy to get the shards, whatever. Arclight or Darklight, they both do the same thing, but they're 100% needed. This is how you make Corp's melee attacks and defense 0. Every successful hit, doesn't matter if it's a 1, doesn't matter if it's a 10. 5% attack, strength, and defense are reduced from the target. So when you're using it, just put on accuracy. Again, you don't care about damage, you care that it hits. 20 of these, Corp has 0 attack, 0 strength, 0 defense. But yes, it's 100% needed. So here's another mandatory item, the Bando's Godsword. You need it, 100%. After you get your Arclights done, this is the only meaningful way to lower Corp's magic level, which means his accuracy will go down. His max hit's going to stay the same, but he's not going to hit you as often, which this is what makes the fight as simple as I said it is. And remember how I said Corp has a passive to negate half damage from anything that isn't a spear or halberd or magic? Well, the BGS, its damage will be halved, but here's the thing. If you hit a 20, it's still going to drain 40 stats from Corp. So the effect of the BGS is still unaffected by Corp's passive. So that's why you only need to deal 200 damage with it and not like 350 or higher. So for this, make sure it's on slash. Unlike the other two, you care how much damage this does. You don't care that it just hits, you care how much damage it does. So you want it on aggressive, slash, deal as much damage, get out of that part as quickly as possible so you can begin the kill. So the Crystal Halberd or the Dragon Halberd. Great special attack weapons. Do you need them? No. But if you don't bring them and you're in a group, you're never going to get a kill in your name. And they're just really good in the solo. All around, no reason not to bring at least a Dragon Halberd. If you bring them though, make sure they're always on the jab, stab setting. Otherwise their damage will be halved because this is slash and this is stab, but it's defensive. So it's controlled stab. This is the best setting to do the specs. So moving on to the actual weapon that I've had on the whole time. The Zami Spear. Like I said, you need a spear to kill Corp. Zami Spear is the best one. Can't really go down from here. If you absolutely need to, a Guthan Spear can work. Kills are going to be abysmally slow, and especially in a solo. I would say if you just somehow get a Zami Spear, do it. It's more important than like any of the other non-essential items. Like if you're doing mainly Corp, get a Zami Spear before like Prims, before Ferocious Gloves, even before maybe a Dragon Warhammer. I don't know. That's up to you. Zami Spear though, definitely I would say 90% needed. If you have to though, Guthan Spear isn't the worst option. And yeah, just going down everything else in here. A Defender, Dragon, or a Vernic, no reason not to bring them. Helps land the specs, the one-handed weapon specs. These helmets, the Dwarven helmet gives Crush, this gives Slash. They help land their respective weapons easier, accuracy. Same thing with the rings, +8 Crush on the Tyrannical, +8 Slash on the Warrior Ring. Not needed. I bring them. I say why not bring them? Especially the Warrior Ring, it's really cheap. No reason not to. Mythical Cape, again, don't have DS2 done, just don't like the switches, don't need it. It just, again, helps land your Dragon Warhammers, and that's about all it does. If you have an Infernal, definitely just camp the Infernal the whole kill. Fire Cape, you can just keep that on if you want. You can be as lazy or as efficient as you want. And lastly for the gear check here, 3 items that kind of questionable, honestly. Everyone looks at me weird when I bring them out in the group. But the Bandos, Chestplate and Tassies, and the Elder Maul. So hear me out. This, with the max strength setup, it's more DPS. I mean, strength, it's DPS. You might need more food, especially in a solo, you're definitely going to need more food. Like, if you use, like, Corils or Void, and just pray magic that whole time, you're, like, never going to use food. If you put Bandos on, you're sometimes, almost always going to need at least, like, 1 piece of kill. It's whatever, it's up to you. And the Elder Maul, this thing, on paper, you would think this is the best way to deal with the core, but in my experience, you're better off just using the BGS. I still bring them all because, can't argue with what it says on paper. So yeah, not needed. Any of these three, not necessary. These are, if you have them and you want to test them out, go for it. I like them sometimes, not all the time, but it's up to you. So yeah, just the rest of the stuff that I showed but didn't really comment on or go over, you can downgrade it. Like, you can turn a face guard into a normal Nezzy helmet. Torture, you can turn it into a Glory or Fury, which a Glory and Fury are kind of equal offensively. Fury's just got more defenses. If you need Dragon Boots because you don't have Prims, go do that. Ferocious Gloves, you don't got those. Bring Barrow's Gloves. A Zerker Ring Eye, you don't got that. You can use a Brimstone Ring. That's about it. Fire Cape, though, really? There's not a way you can downgrade it. Like, yeah, obviously if you got the Infernal, camp that the whole kill. But there's not really anything you can use besides the Fire Cape. Like, you can use a Prayer, a God Cape, whatever those are, the God Cloaks, like a Sarah Cloak, Gothic's Cloak for the Prayer bonus. Not really going to give you much. Maybe if there's some cape that gives magic defense, that could be slightly better than that. But, yeah, so that's it for the gear check. And let's go on to what else you need. So what do you need besides gear? Well, that's going to be stats. I say base 80s, like 80 attack, strength, defense, bare minimum, just so kills don't take forever. You might want some magic levels for the magic defense. It's probably not going to make much of a difference, but it'll help in the long run. A house with a max pool, and at least the lowest tier jewelry box, so you can use the Corporeal Beast teleport on the Games necklace. And you will also need an alt to hold an instance open, if you choose to go the instance route. The alt doesn't need, that's the thing, you don't need any requirements on your alt to hold an instance. You just need 200k, and to be a silver star rank or higher in your CC to open and hold it. If you don't have your own house, you can 100% use World 330. Kills will take longer because you can't teleport directly into your house, and the host you're using, they might log out and might have to find a new one. But yeah, if you don't have a maxed house of your own, World 330 is the way to go. But if you do that, you will almost always need an instance. World 330, the open world outside of the instance, is always going to be taken. Like, almost always going to be taken. Alternatively, if you have a maxed house, but you don't want to bond up an alt, or you don't have an alt, or no friend's account you can borrow, or whatever, you can find an open world. I highly recommend the instances, though, just because there's a lot of crashes for Corp out there. So yeah, but whether you decide to use 330 or not, you're going to get a ton of teleport tabs or construction skill cape just to get back and forth, like you're about to see. You teleport to your house a lot during a Corp kill. But that's about all the information I can tell you for this boss. So without any further ado, if you're a visual learner, I can show you what a normal kill looks like for Corp. So this is the inventory that I use. I use the construction cape and crafting cape because the menus on the max cape kind of get you killed in emergency situations. I bring 2 prayer pots when I'm solo. If you're with a couple of friends, you can just bring all divines and just stay for an hour or 2 before having a bank or split or something. And that's about it. This is my friend's account that I use to hold instances open. I can use my alt, but I'm training it on something. So this is how you do it. You just enter private portal. Yes, 200k. Bring your alt in. Just keep them up here, and just right-click the client that has the alt in it every 3 to 4 minutes. Otherwise, he'll get kicked out. And if you're not in it, the instance will close. I use my own clan chat because the clan I'm in, they don't have me a silver star rank, which it's okay, it's whatever. I'm not picky. And so this is what I do. Usually I would drink this at my house, sip at the pool to heal, and then come back. But I just started recording here. Make sure your quick prayers are on Protect Your Magic and Chivalry. And then you just sip, turn them on, spec. And yeah, almost dead. But yep, that's basically that. You do that a bunch. Restore, go to Corp. After I hit 3 Dragon Warhammers, I will put on all of this. Oh, if you're wondering what this is, the spec tracker, that's a Runelite plugin. I think it's called Special Attack Counter. It's not turned on default, but it is in the default client. You don't have to go to the plugin hub for it. Then after you finish the arc lights, you'll switch to that, if you're using the same thing as me. If you have Void, that's fine, you can just keep the full Void on the whole time, or even if you're using this, but with like a normal Nezi, Fury, and like Barrow's gloves and stuff, it's fine. And now he's all zeros. He's basically a 2,000 health chicken. So after that, you just want to restore your spec one more time. Go back out, put on the Chally, and then just dump the specs on him. Again, Dragon Halley also works. Damage on Corp is only capped at 50, so they will both have the same max hit. Just I think the Chally attacks a little faster. And when I'm doing this is the dancing method with the core. You just... Oh, I messed that up a bit because of the... Yeah, so you just, for the dancing method, this is what you do. You just back and forth, attack, back and forth. Yep, back and forth. It's a little more click intensive. I think the kills are easier if you learn how to do the hit and run, which I'll show you in a bit. But yeah, the hit and run, it's a little annoying to learn. Even I mess it up sometimes still, but basically you will wait till he jumps on you, click, and as soon as you see your character move out to attack, walk at least one square to the left, up or down. It will not work if you go to the east. But what I did there, when you do that, the core will never spawn again for the rest of the kill. You know you did it right if you don't get ashes. If you get ashes, the core will come back. And then, yeah, basically since I killed it now, this is all you do. You just wait. You kill it and pray for an Ellie, or Spectral, Arcane, or Pet. Even Onyx Bolts, they're like 1 in 20, and they're still like 1.5 mil. It's a good drop. And then you wish yourself good luck. Yep, that's about par for the course. And then you go to your house and get ready for the next kill. But that's going to wrap up this guide. I really hope it helps somebody. If it did, let me know. If there's something you think I could have done better, let me know. If you liked the video, leave a like. Maybe consider subscribing. And maybe consider leaving a suggestion of what you want to see a guide for next. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.